Hello, Miss Aubrey. Welcome to part 3 of the mock speaking test for IELTS.
Welcome to you. This has been a really good series. I'm so excited for our listeners to be able to hear this for multiple reasons. It's going to really help you see how to improve your scores. So definitely make sure you're subscribed. Stick around for the 4th part of this series so that you can get very detailed feedback as well as the scores for this series, but also just to get a better idea of timing, how many questions you will get asked, how long your answers should be. All of that is so helpful for helping you be more confident on test day. You know what to expect.
Exactly. Guys, if this is your first video in this series, please go back and watch episode 1 for mock test part 1 and episode 2 for mock test part 2. And then today, of course, we're doing the mock test for part 3. So we want to remind you guys that we are saying exactly what the examiner says on test day. So you guys are fully prepared. You know what to expect. And remember, in episode 4 of this series, that is when we're going to give you really an insider look at what the examiner is thinking during each part about your scores. Okay, so do stay tuned for that. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss that video and our future series. And guys, remember, you can do a free IELTS quiz we made for you. Go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz. Get your free estimated IELTS band score. All right, so I'm going to give the sample answers today because I wanted to, and Aubrey's going to take examiner notes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so what I say first, you guys are going to notice I'm going to say we've been talking about advice because the part 2 was about advice that you've given to someone, and these will be related. The examiner will transition into part 3. So note that. All right, ready? We've been talking about advice, and I'd like to ask you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Is it better to get advice from a friend or from a family member?
Oh gosh, well, that completely depends on who your friends and family members are. And it also depends on what you're asking about. So if I could just take this on a personal level, I would say that if I have questions about my job, or if I have questions about motherhood, I go straight to my mom. I call my mom and I can cry and I can ask for advice. And she, of course, has led a very, sometimes tumultuous life, and therefore has experienced many mistakes and successes. And I very much trust her advice in those 2 areas. However, what if I'm having like romantic issues? What if I'm trying to like date someone or something? I'm not going to go to my mom for advice. I will call one of my close friends and we'll just, we could talk about anything with each other. So that's the personal example, but I'm pretty sure that's true for the general population.
What would you say are the characteristics of good advice?
I would say that it's not one directional. If I am asking someone for advice, that doesn't mean I want a lecture. And that doesn't always mean, and it definitely means I don't want judgment. So I would say characteristics of good advice would be 1, the person has to demonstrate empathy, meaning that they understand what you're feeling. And so that advice would be kind and non-judgmental, because if you're asking for advice, it means maybe you're scared about something. Maybe you think you made a mistake. So you're already in a vulnerable place. You don't want anybody to tell you you're wrong first, right? You just want comfort and help.
Should people make their own work and career decisions, or is it a good idea to ask for advice about this?
Depends on what stage of one's career one is at. I know that I have definitely succeeded in professionally in certain parts of my life when I was beginning to be a professional. And I had to seek advice from managers. And I was lucky to have a series of mentors early on in my teaching career that gave me excellent advice that I still go back to today. However, after having been in ESL and been in a number of different related fields and industries, I'm pretty confident making my own career decisions at this point.
Thank you. Again, let's move on to talk about making decisions. Why do some people find it hard to make decisions?
Oh gosh, well, even I find it hard to make decisions. I think there are too many choices these days, which creates anxiety when one is making a decision, because there's also a factor of FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, you're afraid of making the wrong decision, because when you choose one thing today, it means you are not choosing 1,000 things today. So for example, if you're in a grocery store, right, and you're choosing a type of pasta, there's like 20 different types of noodles made from wheat, rice flour, vegetables. There's too many choices and prices and discounts. And so that makes it difficult. And then at night, if you want to watch something on TV, there are 10 different streaming services that you subscribe to and a billion different things to choose from. And so you can tell in my intonation that just thinking about it creates anxiety for me.
Thank you. What are some of the most important decisions young people have to make?
Oh my gosh, so many. Isn't it terrible that some of the most important decisions we make in our lives have to be when our brains are still young and inexperienced? But that's a topic for another time. So the most important decisions, well, what to study in university, of course, because that can decide your future path for a lot of people. Also, whether or not to go out of state for university or stay home, that can decide how you navigate student loans and what your future debt will look like. Should you get married early? When should you start a family?
Thank you. Let's talk about mistakes. What should parents do when children make a mistake?
Oh my gosh, definitely kindness first. Again, speaking from personal experience, I do apologize. I keep going to personal experience here, but this is the first thing that comes to mind. I know that I have always been very hard on myself. And so when I see my son or his friends being hard on themselves, I try to be very careful about how I react to that. I don't want them to feel bad about their feelings, because feelings aren't wrong. So if a kid makes a mistake, then first of all, you have to let them know that that is okay, that that is human, that they are not alone in making mistakes, that everyone makes mistakes. I also think it's useful to remind them that even as an adult, we make mistakes too. So establish that it's okay first, and then you can help them.
That is the end of the speaking test. Great job. As I'm like, oh, I'm always so interested. Oh, I have to cut you off. I need to ask more questions.
And I do want to note, guys, so we are going to talk about the scores in the very next video next week, but I want to note, because sometimes people say that maybe we're too laughy, too informal in our answers. And yes, I did laugh at times in part 3 because that's my personality. You can do that on the real exam as well, guys. Be you. That is the best way to be relaxed and get that high fluency score and pronunciation score. So although it may seem informal, listen to my vocabulary and ideas, because those are not informal.
Yes, really good point, right? It's when are you laughing? Like, have you said something pretty funny and lighthearted about your personal life? Yes, laugh, be happy. If you're talking about crime in a city and it's that would be inappropriate to laugh, right? But you want to be native and natural. If you're saying something that's funny and it's appropriate, yes, you can still be laughing and having fun in part 3.
And if the examiner cuts you off, like when Aubrey had to cut me off because I talk too much, just be like, whoop. I mean, you could react like that. That's totally fine.
Totally. That's normal. You cut off a friend. That might be what they would do. Yes. Well, great job, Jessica. I'm excited for the next video where we'll be able to provide scores and detailed feedback. So guys, definitely subscribe so that you don't miss that. And remember to go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz to get your estimated band score. And I'll see you next time, Jessica.
All right. Sounds good. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bonus tip, get a 7 or higher with the All Ears English app, featuring real-time transcripts and vocabulary practice that will push your score higher. Plus, fun video lessons with Lindsay, Michelle, and Jessica. Download the app today at allearsenglish.com/app.